Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Yes, welcome back to Sassy Jam. Very nice to see you. Is that what you say to YouTube? Probably not. But hi, welcome back. Yes, it's time for another video. Thanks everyone who tuned into our last video. Make sure you do tune into our last videos. We're doing a series on freelancing, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And last week's was good, and we spoke about rates, and we spoke about how to make the most of being a freelancer, especially pertaining to working in television, because that's what we do. We work in TV. So yes, this week's video is the bad of freelancing. Ooh. Isn't everything all like rainbows and daffodils and good things? No, the answer is no, it's not. So yeah, freelancing, the bad. Right, so freelancing, the bad. Okay, obviously, before I go into all these complaints, I think I should just make it really clear. I don't really think, especially in the television industry, I think some people do actually. They might leave a company they've been at for a long time, just be like, oh, I think I'm going to freelance for a bit, you know, because they're getting like, everyone gets a bit stale or whatever. But for the most part, most people would just like, you start working in TV and then you get another job and then you get another job and you get another job. And then you kind of, sometimes those jobs are long, sometimes those jobs are short. So it's not like, I didn't start my internship when that's how I got on TV. I didn't start my internship and was like, yeah, I want to be a TV freelancer. That's why I'm doing this internship at all. I just didn't know how it worked, essentially. So yeah, it's made up of loads and loads of indies, and that's how we've broken up. And yeah, I think I said in my last video, that's why we all screwed during COVID. But yeah, so you can get permanent jobs, but they're definitely not normally production jobs. I work in an editorial team, which means I normally do like casting and filming and making of the program in that way. So like those jobs are not consistent because of the off nature of like TV. No TV's on all the time, right? Cool. So now I'm gonna get into the bad. So unemployment. Right, I would say, I think someone's asked me this before, they're like, how often do you work? And I would say 3/4 of the year I probably work, because I do like little jobs here and there, and then I get those longer contracts. And that's not a great amount of time, really. You want to work consistently throughout a year. You want to make your rate throughout the year and be a baller. You just want to live your best life and not have to worry about applying for jobs and things like that. It's just not great. And that is just part of being a freelancer, having to like shop around for work and having to like continue your life when you're doing that as well. And there can be benefits to that. Like, so I wasn't working like pre-COVID, so I spent a lot of time with my friends and family. And then like, I couldn't see those people during lockdown, but I'd had a thick amount of time with them when I wasn't working, because I had all the free time. So I'll come see you after work. I'll go visit you, whatever. So that's actually quite nice. But other than that, not really much benefit to not getting money, is it? No one really wants to be jobless. It's just not great, and it happens really frequently. And I think I've mentioned before, in our industry, notices are only 1 week, so your unemployment could kind of creep up on you. And like, it's not uncommon for you to be in a job and then they're like, oh yeah, just don't, like, them not really being honest with you because they're not sure themselves if they'll be able to afford to keep you on your rate or whatever, or like what so you can be working and like the day before they're meant to extend your contract, or not extend it, they'll just be like, no. And it's the same way if you're like a bit shit, they don't say anything because you're going to be jobless anyway. So they just kind of let you go for the most part. And I want to shout out every single employer that I've ever worked with who did feedback before you left, it's like an exit interview. You don't have those. And it's even if you've done a rubbish job or you're not feeling good about it, or you're so, it's good to have that information so you can take and learn, because that's what you're meant to do. What is the point of us getting all this experience if no one tells you how good you're doing. If you're just out on the streets, not working, not sure, applying for jobs, getting scared that you're getting bad references because you have no idea. There's a lot of anxiety in that situation of applying for jobs, or when you've lost a job. It could be one day and you're like, fuck, I'm fucked. I won't be able to pay my rent. I won't be able to do this. I'm meant to go here. I'm meant to be able to afford that. And you have all this fear, that fear. And you can either have that approaching the end of contracts, especially in a long contract, mate. Long contracts, getting to the end of contract, you're like, who am I? What do I apply for? How do I apply? You think I can remember how to send beggy emails? Like, hi, how are you? I don't remember. I was so happy when I got a job. I stopped remembering how to do that. And having to update your CV, all of that is all like quite repetitive, where other industries, you don't have to kind of suffer from that constant, like, it's just jarring. It's just really demoralizing as well. The unemployment sort of period is like, first of all, sometimes you're like, I'm gonna take a little break, might go on holiday, might chill, might watch some TV. I haven't seen something on Netflix, the end of the contract's always a bit, so you might have missed some stuff, so you might spend a few days doing that, and then you're like, right, I'm gonna apply for jobs again. And it's just like hell, and like people don't remember you and you don't remember them. It just becomes this like kind of weird, it's not nice. I mean, you're trying to be picky, but you can't really be picky. And then you end up just doing anything, and then you hate it. And it's all a bit of shit. But I've always like felt the best way to deal with when you're not working is to network. Just try and go to as many chats as possible. Email talent managers. If they haven't got anything on, say you just want to go for a chat, go and sell yourself, right? And they'll be like, oh, what are you up to? Be like, oh, just watching TV. I'm just watching television. And some people like appreciate that honesty. And you know what? I remember it was like obviously like 4 or 5 years ago when I first like finished and I was out like freelancing for the first time. I met so many people, like I couldn't even tell you how many people I met. But 2 years later, when I wasn't working, those same people were hollering at me. And I was like, oh. So sometimes they do remember you, and you have to make the most of not working. Make the most of it with your friends and family. Make the most of it with rest. Make the most of it of like looking after yourself and your mental health and experimenting with your hair. Whatever you want it to be, make the most of it. And also network. Like use that time to go out and meet people. Go to events you don't have time to go to. Fucking go for dinner at 5 o'clock with the rest of your friends. Like just try and make the most of it. That's all I can do advice-wise on the unemployment. But yeah. Oh, and also save your coins. I don't really like that advice, yeah, because it's like save your coins, but like you're meant to be saving for a house, for a rainy day, for a holiday, for whatever. Every 3 months, if you're using your save money, it's like kind of defeats the purpose. So in that case, if you're trying to save something, just you've got to stay working, do what you need to do, hustle. And in the early days, because you get paid less, I do know a lot of people who like worked in cinemas or whatever, do that too. That's also a great networking opportunity for you. If you're in a junior position, work more than one job. I didn't do it. I really didn't. But you could do it. But yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world to kind of do things and focus on your side hustles if you've got them, or hobbies. Love that. Nurture that. And be like, oh, I'm doing this. And people will actually respect you in the long run as someone who like makes the most of their life, even though sometimes you're using the printer or something in the office and they're a bit like, what's all that paper? And you're like, that side hustle you've been, someone needs to support that, and that's what I'm doing here. Thank you very much. Other thing that is bad about freelancing, and I hope this will probably pertain to everyone who is a freelancer, fucking invoicing, right? So I've told you before, I do mostly contract work, yeah? Cool, wonderful. So even that's awkward. You walk in, there's sometimes who don't even get your contracts. You might never see your contract, and you don't know when you're going to get paid, and you don't know if you've missed payroll, and I don't know why, but no one thinks it's the most important thing in the world to tell you, look, I'm not here for fun. I'm here for money. And when I walk in, I want you to tell me when I'm getting paid, and if I've missed payroll, and what I need to do to make sure I get paid on time. But that never happens, and you're always just sat there like, right, Like I, in my head, have planned to get paid on Friday. I don't know if I'm getting paid on Friday because I've started a new job. And I asked and no one answered. But I was told I made payroll. But if I get paid next week, that's shit. That's absolutely shit. But that's just how it works. Some places have 30-day pay terms. Some places have 90-day pay terms. Some places, when you're doing your fucking invoicing, they just... You know what, actually? In saying this, I've never actually had to chase an invoice genuinely, because as soon as I send my invoice, I'm like... I send it and I'm like, that should be in my account in 14 days. If you're not there, you're going to hear from me. And I feel like they can read that energy via my sending of my invoice, because it is really hard. I've met people and I've seen people chasing invoices for a really, really long time. But remember, it's your legal right to get paid, and make that clear on your notes of your invoice and let them know that you're savvy about this shit and you're not going to fuck about when it comes to pay. I will be like, okay, let me call accounts then. What's the accounts number? And they're like, oh, yeah, I'll call them. Because I want to get paid. And it's not about not having money. It's about wanting what I've earned. And I don't care how little I did or how much I did. I want the money. That's why I did it, okay? It's like, this is a job. And no other normal circumstance would you have to chase your job and chase your pay. And some of these companies, are janky as fuck when it comes to shit like that. So you've got to be quite stern with that and be open with that. That's why in my last video I wrote all of those rates and stuff out there, because when it comes to money, you shouldn't be messing around. You shouldn't be like, I've seen people like, oh, it's fine, I'll just pay for it and they'll give it back. When are they going to give it back? I don't know what your personal situation is, but I'm not paying for £50 for a cab and not getting that back. Sorry. What? No, I didn't. I would have been at home in bed. I wouldn't have spent a penny. I would have just continued spending my 0.1p I spend a day on Netflix every month. You know what I mean? Like, I would not have been there. So you have to give my money back, and I will chase that until you give it back to me. Because a lot of these places will just be like, I don't know, they kind of read off their own financial status and they think they can kind of put that on you. But chase your invoices, kids. Just chase, know the legality of it, know that you can charge interest, know that you can do all sorts of things. It's just really important to know that stuff, really. Just have that ready. Another bad thing is you got to pay bills. God, freelance is mad, because as I said, sometimes you don't know what day you're going to get paid. I've made mine the last Friday of every month, all my direct debits for the most part, or a couple of days after. And that tends to be okay. But like some places will just do a random curveball on you and be like the last day of the month. And you're like, no, the last Friday. Like, no, we can't, you can't mess it up. They won't know. The direct debit will go out, it'll be a bit awkward. So you always have to be really careful with that, and just be really like open with your bill payers and let them know you're a freelancer, but you get money, but you just might not know when it's getting in. And yeah, I'm always like quite good at communicating with people on that, because I just don't want to be in a situation where like I can't use my phone, or I'm in the office and someone's phoning you being like, oh, hello, Satema, I'm just wondering when you're going to pay your bill. Not in the mood at all. So sort that shit out. And yeah, the rainy day fund, sometimes it gets used, jarring in it, but you just kind of got to make it, sometimes got to make that money stretch just for bills. I don't make money stretch for anything else except for those, because I don't always want to be in a situation where I'm like, and that's what happens. You get bills and you're in inconsistent employment, and you have to express that to almost everyone around you, your friends, your family, your bill collectors. Next point, disposable. I've mentioned this before. You're very disposable in this industry. Like to the point they'll email you and be like, oh, we've got this great job for you. If you don't reply back quick enough, someone else will have that great job. It is, you have to almost be on it. You have to be so focused on trying to get a job, and just because you can be replaced really quickly. I don't know about other industries, but TV, they can post that. They're like, when they say start ASAP, they can be like, oh, we'll send you some stuff tonight to read over. You start tomorrow morning, is that right? Or do you have to start tomorrow? Is that okay? Is that right? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So having to start something tomorrow means that someone else can replace you tomorrow. And that's like not a great feeling, because you don't really have the confidence of like knowing, oh, I'm shit hot and blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, a lot of people are shit hot. A lot of people have charisma. A lot of people have like good knowledge. A lot of people know how to do this, know how to do that. You're not the only person. I I know like 10 other people start the same year I did, you know? And if I know 10, you can only imagine how many there are. So they have the same level of experience I have. They might have more. And they could be they're all your competitors. So there is like a level of that. And like, actually, when you think about it, whenever you work with someone or whenever you meet someone who works in your industry, they're kind of your competitors, and you apply for the same jobs. And imagine applying for a job you know your friends applied for, and then your friend gets an interview and you don't. Or your friend gets it and you don't. And you're at home, jobless, sad, and they're there chilling in the office, drinking espresso. It's very like, and you kind of have to like mentally prepare yourself for that level of like being a disposable person in an industry that you're kind of, you're like, I was going to say love, but it's okay. Another massive problem in our industry is nepotism. This is especially dangerous and ridiculous when you're in the early days of the industry. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know what the word nepotism meant until I started in TV. I was gonna full name the person who told me the word nepotism. But yeah, she was saying she just met someone who'd worked in the industry and they knew their aunt, and I was like, she was like, oh, nepotism. In fact, two of them were like, nepotism, and I was like, what does nepotism mean? And it's nepotism, by definition, is those in power, in positions of power or influence, favouring their friends or family for jobs, right? So that happens constantly in our industry. Our industry has a massive problem with nepotism, so much that they have several schemes to get working class and people of colour and other diverse people into the industry and disabled people into the industry, because there is such a glaring, obvious problem with people hiring within their own image, or hiring people they know, or hiring people they know who they know who they know. Okay, this has not ended. Just because there are schemes, just because people like me work in the industry, and like I know a lot of other black people who work in my industry, and Asian people work in my industry, and people with disabilities who work in my industry, and working class people work in my industry, doesn't mean that is over. What's happened is there is more like, basically, nepotism just works for us now, right? That's it. I've just met enough people. All them days I was unemployed, I went around meeting people. That has helped me. So I'm now using nepotism in this industry. But it's shit. It's shit. And it also means that very often you can walk in an office and be the only person who looks like you. You can be the only person who comes from a background that you've come from, and they don't understand you and you don't understand them, and you're constantly trying to battle that situation. It's very difficult to kind of like, and you know what? Some people do it. I've met people who've been in the industry for years and they're just like, but not everyone's like that. Some people find it hard. I can think of several situations where I've like just been like, I don't understand what's happening, and no one cared to explain it to me. No one looked at me, and I slightly blame those people who came before me who just took it all in and just didn't do anything about it, never questioned anything, never did anything, because they're not used to people who look like us actually questioning why they speak a certain way and why they do that and why they don't understand certain things. All of those questions are always pushed on us. Like, why don't you understand the status quo? And it's like, why don't you try and change the status quo? Why is that your status quo and nothing else? So it's made the industry a certain way, and I do truly believe it's changing, but the idea of nepotism isn't, and that's not working. Every single black or person of colour I know in this industry right now is employed. Like, and they're not applying for jobs. They're just sitting at home and someone's phoning them saying, I know someone, and it's to the point where like execs at channels are like thinking, they're like, oh, that's that one brown girl who worked in that. And you're getting phone calls because of that, because they're trying to push it so hard, but it's just showing how few people they know. It's like, I literally barely know you, but you know a black person works on that show because you did a black show. So it's kind of like, it can work in your favour, but you have to work so hard to get to that position. It has to be years. You have to work hard, you have to be impressive, you have to be memorable, and it's a lot. It's absolutely a lot. And I remember like how much emphasis people put on being memorable. Even when I was an intern, I remember someone saying, oh yeah, no one's going to forget you and your jazzy shirts. And I was like, my jazzy shirts? Which, like, what? But people are remembering something about you, or your hair, or whatever it is. Those things stand out and people remember you in years, and that's how you get a job. So like the phase of nepotism has changed our industry, but nepotism isn't changing at all. So when you first go into it, you're in a situation where no one knows you, so no one's going to hire you. Straight up, that's it. You're not going to get hired because they don't know you. And what do? You just have to make people know you. You have to send emails, and I'm always willing to send a long ass emails to people of how to make those connections. I'm always doing that because I just think it's the most important thing in the world. Watch programs you like, look at who makes them, find out who the talent manager is, email, or the production manager, because I still have to do it. I did that last year. It doesn't like end. You might go for a long period of unemployment. Everyone you know doesn't have anything for you. What you've got to do, you've got to start again. You've got to start from scratch, and you've got to get to know more people, and that can work out for you, or you know, it can't. But yeah, I'm trying to, it is really hard. I can't deny that our industry is very hard. The bad is like standard though. This is just what happens. This is just how it is. That's it. You've got to chase your money. You've got to prepare to be employed. You've got to prepare everyone in your life to prepare for you to be unemployed as well, which is a whole big thing. And you've got to have feelings of rejection quite a lot. That's the thing. And you've got to make yourself, you might be one of those people who just want to walk in the office, be quiet and do your job. Fine. But they're probably going to hire the loud person who was also good at their job just because they remember them, and that's, or they preferred them, or they're more fun in the pub. You know, if you're not fun in the pub, you might not be hired again, which is as simple as that. Oh, you love them, they're great. That's what you hear. I've seen production managers literally go through their Facebook, see who their mutual friends are, and then call them and be like, are they a dickhead? Literally. And you're like, oh, like that's your true reference. That's your actual reference. Referencing is just all fun and games, like all of that. But really, it's like who you know. And as I've said, it can work in your favor, but I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, that's amazing, that's good that it works in your favor. Would I rather be doing long application forms rather than getting a phone call and asking them I'm available? Possible. No, I don't know. I don't know what I'd prefer, but what I don't like is the idea that our industry can be like one face and one person. And this is why I do these videos, and this is why I'm always offering people help, because I am very passionate about different people being in our industry and changing the face of our industry and changing the sort of television we're making and changing the sort of content we're making. And it's not just to appeal to like Black people, it's beyond that. It's to appeal to just like everyone. There's so much more, there's so much even diversity when it comes to like Blackness, and people should understand that, but we don't understand it because we don't get to represent that very often because there's not enough of us. So yeah, I'm here, your nepotism champion. If you're Black and working class, want to work in television, drop me an email. I will reply. Honestly, I'll even do a phone call. Just one though. I talk a lot. I'm tired. I've got a lot going on. Do you know what I mean? I've got Boost to be calling. I'm joking. I don't. I have a kitten. Anyway, next week we're going to be talking about the ugly. And you're like, oh, the ugly? What does that really mean? But I want to have some really deep, real conversations about things on industry that I just think are completely fucked up. And you can't really just, I can't advise you over it. Tune in next time.